Hey guys, Chloe is doing much better today. She slept well last night. She's sleeping in her crate right now, so I am out for a very brisk morning walk. Whew, I tell you, it's a nice break from the extreme hot weather, and it's not cold enough where it's shivering out, but it's a very nice brisk weather. And something that's really cool is we finally have cold water. It's something that you don't think about until you're down here and then you miss it, but you notice it when you go back up north and visit anybody. You have cold water out of the tap, but usually down here it's 60, 70, 80 degrees, and none of our utilities are more than a foot or two underground. The water table here in Florida is so high you can't build anything underground, so that's why we don't have any basements, which I really miss because they're handy for storage, and I would love the extra footage to finish, make some extra rooms, but it's probably why storage units down here are so popular too. I mean, they're all over the place. You got pawn shops, you got payday advance, and you got storage all over Florida. But yeah, that there's no place to put your stuff. We have some storage in the garage and a little bit above the garage, and then we use our back room. But if you don't have any of that stuff, well, that's why a lot of people around here use their garage as storage, and that's why you see cars parked outside in the driveways instead of in the garage, because they're all full of crap. But it's nice to open the tap and have really cold water to drink. It takes a couple days of this really cold weather to affect it like that, but it's nice. So anyway, getting in some exercise here while she's resting comfortably, and just catching up on a lot of projects. Had some emergency work to do for a client this morning, setting her up with a website. And it's another cool thing about setting people up with websites is I don't just do their website. I do anything related that I can fix while I'm at it, and oftentimes that includes email. Way too many people are not using email to the best of their ability. And what I mean by that is, when you're a business owner, this is something I go over in my internet class and everything. When you're a business owner and you're emailing somebody, you should have an email address from your website. For example, I'm Brian at bgpictures.com for my photography. I'm not bgpictures at gmail.com. That's just unprofessional. It's not a business way of doing things. That's fine for a personal email address, but if you're running a professional business, your domain should be the hub for your business email, plain and simple. And the vast majority of people I work with don't do that. The other thing is, they're usually not using Gmail. That's at least functionally good. They're usually using crap like their local internet provider. So it'll be something even worse, like their first last name at tampabay.rr.com or Comcast or Verizon.net, some just totally non-professional address. And the problem with those are they're often not set up as IMAP, they're set up as POP. And the big thing about that is access. When you're set up as an old school POP server, all your email is stored on one local computer. So these people are often using one computer at the office or home, and that's where all their email is stored. And they're usually using Outlook, which is just absolutely horrible to use, period, no matter what email address you're using. I get everybody off Outlook as soon as possible. I don't really care what email client you go to. I push them towards something like Thunderbird, which is an excellent client. But if you want to use the mail built into your Mac, that's fine too. But get off Outlook. Terrible, terrible program. So the problem is they can't use their mail conveniently, or at all in some cases, on their tablets and their phones, their laptop, another computer, etc. And by going to a more modern setup, set up on an IMAP server, you can use your mail anywhere you want. And that is just like, oh my goodness, so loud. You can use your mail anywhere you want, any way you want, and you're good to go. And that is just a huge revelation for these people. And, you know, it just opens up the doors to working more efficiently and doing more with their time. And it's like, hello, welcome to, 2009. But it's just, it amazes me how many people are just stuck years behind and either don't know it or just never bothered to look into how to fix it. So I do all of that. And the problem this morning was getting her fixed up on that. It's a long process sometimes because when you've been doing it for years, for example, this is a classic example. She's been using Outlook, so she's got years of old emails stored on there, gigabytes of email. One of the ones that just stored everything in their inbox, didn't use folders, didn't delete anything, just tons and tons of files. So now she's set up on the new one, and it was up to her to drag and drop to copy over what she wanted to her new email address, make folders, put things in the right spots, etc. And then she can use her new email on all of her devices. Well, that takes people weeks or months to do if they don't sit down and do it. I've done it once for a good client of mine. It took me 4 hours just because you have to upload all that stuff. And it depends on your internet connection. And if it's not really fast, it takes a long time. So she finally got all that done. And now she was setting up Thunderbird with her new email address. So she's finally good to go and really happy, and she'll be even happier when she gets the new site. I just had another huge mail shipment in. They gave me one of those U.S. postal baskets. It took me half an hour to open all the boxes. I'm going to have to do another troops update video just to cover what's come in the last 2 days, which is what you see here. Just tons of stuff that came in today. And I think what I'm going to try here, the drips are finally slowing down, but there's still a lot of water up here. There's just not enough surface tension to keep it coming out. And I can kind of milk it. There's still a lot up there. So what I'm going to do is try the shop vac. And I'm just going to see if I can, suck it out of there and see what happens. I don't know if it's going to pull it out or not, but it's worth a shot just to dry this out a lot faster, and then I'll move on over to those two over there and see what I can get out of those. Let's give it a shot. Never tried this shop vac on wet before. This was a great unit, by the way. If you ever need one, this was only 99 bucks at Home Depot. It's a 6 horsepower, very quiet, and that was important for me. This is not obnoxiously loud, or normal vacuum's louder. And it's a 14-gallon wet dry, and I got the dust bags inside. I used it to do all the dust from the drywall and the sanding of the concrete and everything in the bathroom. And the bag that went inside totally kept it from coming out the exhaust. It was beautiful. Plus it's got the big K&N type pleated filter that you can clean a little bit hanging on the center. So it really does a great job. And this will be the first time I try it wet. So it's completely empty inside right now. I've never used it without the dust bag filter, so it's in normal shop vac mode right now. Let's see what happens. Well, it worked somewhat. Did get a good amount out, but it didn't keep coming out. I think there's just so much restriction up there. These panels are basically foam and aluminum and steel. So the water has to make its way. That big drain I had yesterday was water literally caught underneath this aluminum skin. So it came out real quickly. But what's dripping out now is basically the stuff that's in the substrates, in the styrofoam and stuff. And, it's slowly making its way from the edges down to the spot. And there's not that much left up in there. So, sucked them out real good. And, they're going to take some time to totally dry up. But hopefully that final patch sealed it. So now everything up there can be left to actually dry. Got a little bit dripping here through this here. I can't do anything about this because I've got so many holes. That was from the ceiling fan attachment. That's in the steel brace. So that's just going to have to drain on its own. This over here on this end stopped dripping yesterday, so I think the water pretty much flows over to this side mainly. This was the most active. So, I guess we won't know until the next time it rains. I am not going to flood test this again because I don't need to intentionally make it this bad. It was never this bad from a rain. You know, after rain, it would stop dripping within a few hours, half a day at the most. But after this flood test he did, obviously it's been going for several days, and I had about 2 gallons that have drained out so far. So that was just ridiculously bad. Well, the wife got home and she says, "I want chicken wings for dinner." I said, "Okay, I can make some." "No, I don't want yours. I want deep fried." Okay, so we don't really have a wing place around us. Used to go to Hooters or Wing House or Buffalo Wild Wings, but you know, you gotta wait and they're 20 minutes down the road. So I did a Google search and I found that the sub place that I go to sometimes right near us has wings. Looked them up online. Okay, not bad prices. She calls them up to order. Super Bowl special, 50 wings with blue cheese and celery, $30 with tax. Score! See you guys tomorrow.